Yeah, it was all right.
I actually find that the problem is a lot of Korean and Japanese things, whether a big screen, small screen things I've been exposed to. Actually, it's not just Korean, Japanese, even some Chinese. I don't know why the Asians are so good at it. It's just the overacting, and I think the voice does it. If you listen in its natural language, I think it's all rolled into that part of the culture, and it's not so cringeworthy.
Yeah. Like they
But
didn't capture the same
in my
emotion.
mind, it's the same because they're still overacting. The facial expression, I'm like, oh, come on, go. Yeah, performances could be a lot better. Like, so over the top. It's like, yeah, I've seen this already. I don't know why it's those Chinese, Asian cultures. Chinese, Japanese, Korean. They're all the same. Stop the overacting.
How would your face be facing a death robot?
A robot, huh?
Oh, and the soundtrack was very uninspiring, very cliched music. Yes, we all know Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra. I didn't need that running commentary. I was going, yeah, don't insult my intelligence. Same with the classical music pieces. I was going,
oh, yeah. Blue the Noob.
everyone uses the same subset. Yeah. No one uses anything original.
It's the Blue the Noob by Strauss.
Oh, yeah.
But that aside, it's a very interesting premise.
Yeah.
So, despite those
it gets better later.
Yeah, someone told me
it does.
Yeah, it does.
Hugh was watching until 5, but he got told by his sister because he was about to go, oh, it's really a bit there, and I can see where he comes from. But his sister told him, no, it gets much better from 6 onwards. So yeah, like I said, for me the originality of the premise is very interesting. And yeah, I did recognize that number 67. I go, she was that kid who stole all his money from the horse race.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going, yeah, it's so when the guy when he recognized her, I go, good. I thought I was going mad, but I'm not. It is her.
Yeah.
And the last 5 seconds, that was actually 10 seconds.
Oh.
Well, they did do it in slow motion as well.
Yeah, it was in slow-mo, so yeah.
Yeah. But overall, it was it's a good episode, but I didn't like it in English.
I didn't mind it. I was expecting worse, but it was okay. It was fine, actually. And I actually think whoever did the voice for that, I don't know what that voice is. You made a note in the chat about the red light, green light doll. Oh, yeah. What makes it even creepier, it does sound like an innocent girl's voice who has, and normally innocence you associate with purity and goodness. So there's that contrasted with the fact of eliminating people from the game means killing them off. So you've got that great contrast, which makes it creepier, which is why I think like Annabelle and Chucky, where they're where they're normally very innocent and harmless and pure and innocent things.
Yes,
it's even scarier when they are, animated and have evil intentions because it's just completely unexpected. So yeah.
Yeah. And
considering they're like playing kids games, but at a more
I like that premise because it's not like doing Tough Mudder where it's like, yeah, there's no chance. Whereas if you're desperate enough and they're offering big buckaroos, and it's a game where, you think it's a kid's game. I've played this before. I have experience. It's definitely not a hard game because kids have played it. Whereas if I said, I don't know, even some of the Amazing Race challenges, if you've ever watched that reality show, are way harder than kids' games. So I like the hook of the motivation of finding people who are in debt and then getting them to do something which actually seemingly isn't hard on the outset, but when there are clearer rules, like you get eliminated if you don't cross the line within 5 minutes, that raises the stakes a bit.
Yeah, all
Definitely.
6 of the games are actually seemingly very easy to do, but fatal outcomes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Well, effectively, Squid Game has gone so popular that they're doing like real life versions of it, minus the murder, by the way.
Are they
many
are they
countries.
real life versions, as in they'll turn it into a reality TV show, or do you mean real life versions where it's like escape room where anyone can go to a venue and play these games?
An actual Squid Game. So like South Korea planned one as well after the show, minus the murder, but they sold tickets for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I meant, what's the format? Are they broadcasting it on TV like Big Brother or Gladiator, or is it
Actually,
for
I'm not too
normal
sure.
citizens?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They could be doing it for fun because it does seem like a lot of other countries are getting into the same idea. Because it seems like Australia has some plans for it as well. The US has some YouTubers trying to do a Squid Game. And as well, apparently Abu Dhabi is playing their own Squid Game as well. So we'll see how those go. I'm not sure if they're going to be broadcast or not, but we'll see. But it does sound interesting. And if you think about the concept of like people going into an arena and being killed off, a lot of people drew that revelation or similarity to the Hunger Games.
Oh, Hunger Games. It's quite similar to Hunger Games.
It's very, yeah, I think that's the closest analogy I can think of as well. And I'm afraid I think I've read some reviews or whatnot, and they all say there's equivalents to Hunger Games because it's about survival. It's about a big incentive.
Money, right? Yeah.
If you don't win, you die, which is exactly like Hunger Games.
But with the Hunger Games, it was definitely more of a battle royale instead of
enclosed, and
kids'
there's
games.
some mysterious guy who's looking by voyeuristically.
Yeah. That will be reviewed later. Yeah, who's controlling the game?
With the Hunger Games, there was already always hidden things ready to basically jump out and kill you. But with Squid Games, it's just black and white, live or die. Win or lose.
The Squid Game is definitely meant to be easier, like kids' games that everyone picks up to play before. But the Hunger Games is definitely just a battle royale. Like battle it out, best wins.
That battle, yeah. They have to fight it out. But this one, this game, the first one, they don't have to fight each other, right?
No.
Not this one anyway. But yeah, I guess that is one difference, right? Because Hunger Games, you have to fight each other, right?
No, not necessarily.
Oh, not necessarily?
It depends on what the challenge is.
Oh.
You've got different challenges, remember? So there was one, most of the time you aren't actually fighting each other. It depends on the game master to provide the game. So, once they started around this lake and they just had to get the first, you just had to get into a point in that sort of lake thing and to get your weapon within a certain time frame. It's just that people think that if they eliminate the competition, they've got a better chance of winning. But the challenges themselves aren't necessarily go kill the opponent. In fact, I don't recall anyone like that. It's more a matter of survival.
Yeah, definitely. But considering the Hunger Games official Facebook channel actually did mention the Squid Games as well.
Yeah. I can imagine that.
I'll just share my screen. I can show you what they shared on their Facebook. You see there the Hunger Games. Like, which of these 6 would have been final 2 in Squid Game? they show the Hunger Games here.
Oh, can you make it a bit bigger? It's a bit small. Oh, there you go. Oh, I can see it.
There we go.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
No, that's good.
There you go. Oh,
But yeah.
Oh, that's the final 6, is it? Oh,
Final 6 of the Hunger Games. But if you look at the subtext here,
oh yeah.
which of these 6 would have been final 2 in Squid Game?
That's interesting. You have to bet for Katniss, right? You have to.
Yeah. So it does seem like they do share that same concept.
Yeah. Mm.
And not only that, the problem with the Squid Game as well, a lot we're mentioning about the subtitles. So there's this thing as well.
Oh, what's that one?
I actually found that. Oh, sorry. You know how we were worried that there'd be deviations between dubbing and subtitles?
There are
were
deviations. They are.
There are? Which one?
Oh, were there?
So the English
I didn't pick up any.
translation was set to the English language.
Oh.
So the actual Korean subtitles are different to what we're given or what Netflix gave in the end.
You have
But
to,
in terms of the dubbing dialogue and the subtitles in English that we read, there was no mismatch there. There could very well be a mismatch between the Korean subtitles and the Korean dialogue between any of the English formats, whether it's written or dubbed. But as long as there was no difference between the dubbing and the subtitles, it made it easier to follow.
Yeah,
Because
there's a difference between the dubbing and the subtitles, but it's a difference to the actual Korean language.
you have to understand Korean to know that.
Yeah, so some who were Korean actually pointed out that if you're watching it with the English subtitles, you're not essentially watching the same show.
If we, for example, watch a Finnish film, right? With the English language, nobody's going to know that is different from the Finnish language, because I can pretty much guarantee that nobody here knows Finnish.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know Finnish.
I didn't know Korean either, but effectively, what this is saying is if you're watching it with the English subtitles, it does seem like you are watching a different show than what the Koreans.
I like the fact that you've got this news article up because I'm reading it. So they have got an example there. And by the way, Bill, Minä puhuu suomea, mutta pieni. I said I speak Finnish, but a little.
Yeah, I know a little Finnish also, but just basically, just enough to kind of like buy me a drink or get me to the train station, man, something like that.
But admittedly, it does seem like there's several who do support the English dubbing.
I think that's just unfortunately that's just an unfortunate case across many. It's not just Squid Game is probably what I'm going to say.
It's like with a lot of other things, but since Squid Game is like the number one series right now, it's the one being talked about the most.
Yeah, I actually find it fascinating when I don't know who makes the call, but when you watch a foreign language film and you read the title in its native language, and when they give the English title, it's a complete. It's not quite the same, and I wonder if they do it deliberately and it's a studio thing, as opposed to providing an actual translation of the title to be the English title. So there was a French film called Elle s'appelait Sarah, which is her name is Sarah, I guess that sounds a bit weird, but the English title of that film is actually called Sarah's Key. And that's the only example I can think of off the top of my head, but I'm quite aware that there's been lots of other instances where a foreign language film is one title and the English film is something different or something completely different.
Yeah, but overall, I think it's still a good translation either way. It's just that I didn't agree with the dubbing.
I find that if you make it at least intelligible and it communicates enough, that's great. I think when you go learn foreign languages and you learn the art of translating and interpreting, which is even worse, it's like the reason why there are so many translations of the Bible. Do you want literal, follow the grammar of the original language, but then you lose the flow into the language in which you're trying to translate into? If you want people to understand in their tongue, there is unfortunately some give and take. And there are just words in one language of which there's no equivalent. So how do you simplify that as well?
That's the interesting thing
I think
about
like tone, meaning,
well.
and I think tone, meaning, expression in one cultural context can sometimes, and if you want to, I find similar thing with, I hope people don't speak French here, and because I excuse my French literal and figuratively. So when I learnt French, I never learnt swear words. I learnt one. But it's not until I watched French films, I learned way more swear words. And so I remember watching, I think The Intouchables, and the word putain kept coming up, and it was translated as fuck. And then I went, let me just look that up. But literally, putain literally means whore. But you don't say, us in English, we won't say whore as a ejaculation of cursing. So rightly so, they translated as fuck. So I went, okay, yeah, I get it.
I guess that's the interesting about translations, which is also why, like in Japanese anime, there could be different like dubbing studios for like the same anime. For example, Dragon Ball Z, for example, had like what we call the Ocean dub, which is like a one-to-one translation, and the Funimation dub, which was translated, not really exactly translated word for word, but made for the English language to be easier to be understood.
Exactly. I find that if you do too literal a translation, and I'm going to go back to that Bible translation analogy.
Yeah, so it was like two different dubs for like the same series.
So that we have, NIV, then you've got a different years versions of NIV. I prefer the Holman because to me it's a good compromise of English flow and literal, and trying to keep it literal close to the Greek. I still remember the first time I picked up an ESV and went, this is the world's poorest ways of expressing English. It's like someone, it's like someone whose native language isn't English made a really good effort but couldn't quite make it. So yeah, and there's been things like children's Bibles, or the message, like how colloquial do you want to go to fit the tone and the meaning behind it, but then you take away the literal nature of it. But if you stick to literal, you don't convey that sort of attitude and tone.
Yeah, but I guess this point makes it.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah.
Untranslatable makes differences inevitable.
And I think that's why if you're I find it seems to be a natural progression. If you are interested in entertainment from a different country, you naturally want to learn that language. You actually naturally want to learn their culture, because there is definitely a richness in in whether it's stand-up or music or film or TV, if you consume that medium in its own native language and you made the effort to learn, you get so much more than from translating into your native tongue. And by the way, I'm not bagging translators and interpreters. They've got a hard job. And I think most of the time they do a fantastic job. But just like I can read a Wikipedia page about a country and its people, but it will be so much more. I'll get a much richer experience if I actually go there, meet the people who are from there, or learn the language. That you've got different levels of engagement and understanding culture, of which language is one part plus also a reflection of.
Yeah, but overall, I'd say I still prefer to watch it in Korean with the English subtitles.
And I get a funny feeling that definitely makes sense for you because you listen to K-pop, you watch K-dramas. I think your understanding of Korean culture, you may not know 100% the language, but you've certainly been exposed enough where you can sort of pick up on things. So, yeah. In the same way, yes, I may speak a little Finnish, but I will never turn off English subtitles for Finnish films.
And same with Ghibli films.
Yes, Ghibli films. Like there are certain places where I go, yeah, got that. Most of the time, I'm like, no, definitely needs. Even French, which is my Cantonese is fine. Mandarin, but French is my other language, which I'm the most fluent at. There are movies where I go, or TV shows where I go, I'm surprised. I will actually understand this without the subtitles, but reading the subtitles definitely it adds a little more.
Yeah, definitely. And even as I did say before, how can Emily Blunt and John Krasinski completely destroy a really good movie?
Which movie did you think they destroyed?
The Wind Rises.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Brilliant movie.
It's
just horrible in English.
It's actually, I think that voice act, and it's a similar thing, voice acting and acting on screen.
Yes,
although they
it's
require
completely
very
different
similar
things.
skills, exactly. In Japan, the voice actors are purely voice actors. So all the Ghibli films, etc., they just do voice acting, and you see the quality of it, and you hear the quality of it. Rather, sorry.
Yeah, a lot of anime is a lot better in the Japanese language than the actual dubs.
I absolutely agree with you. I much prefer watching Japanese films, especially anime, in Japanese.
Yeah, like for The Wind Rises, I really love those two actors because they've done so many good films together, and they have their own projects. But this one movie, which I thought was a really, really brilliant movie, was completely butchered by that voice acting.
It's interesting, and it's a similar. It's actually not that similar. I don't know why. I think I'm bringing it up because I watched it last night. Gone Girl was on ABC last night. I saw it at the cinema with some of you, Marcus, whoever. Yeah. Anyway, saw it at the cinema at least with Marcus, and I thought it was a brilliant film. And it's fascinating now that I've watched it again. I picked up on the fact that Emily Blunt's American accent wasn't quite to par. I think it was quite grating. At least it wasn't as bad as Anne Hathaway's English accent in some English film I saw, which is horrible. I mean, the film itself was good, but Anne Hathaway was horrible.
Yeah, sometimes
She's grating
they don't play good parts. I like Gone Girl.
I'm sorry, not Gone Girl. Girl on the Train.
The Girl on the Train.
The Girl on the Train. Because you mentioned Emily Blunt. I went, I just saw her last night in.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because who was it in Gone Girl?
Blake? No, not Blake Lively.
Blake Lively was
The what
That
was in
other
the similar
movie.
one with Henry Golding?
Uh,
Oh, who was in Gone Girl? Oh, Gone Girl. Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund Pike,
And
that's it.
Ben Affleck,
Ben
I think,
Affleck, the
was the
Batman
husband.
guy, yeah.
Mm.
A Simple Favor, that's it.
A Simple Favor, that's it. Yes. I was going, he's got Henry Goulding and Anna Kendrick.
Blake Lively.
And Blake Lively, yes.
Yeah, I got the
I
book.
equate those three together.
Yeah.
They all seem to be similar in my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, she's gone again.
But it also does seem like a lot of people do want a Squid Game season 2.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's definitely going to happen, season 2.
Yep. So there's a lot of concept art about Squid Game season 2.
Yeah.
One of them being my background.
Oh, wow.
Oh. 516.
516.
Yeah.
But hang on, that doesn't make sense. That the main character, the chauffeur guy that we're following, he was number 456, and he's the last one.
He's the last
Yeah,
one.
that's why they say this is a concept artwork for
Yes,
season 2.
Because I'm like, that's because I'm assuming it's the same venue with the same capacity, unless if it's a new warehouse and it's much bigger, then it can accommodate more people. Then it makes sense about 516.
It probably is, but this is still a concept art and a fan made it. If you recognize
and
it,
is that IU?
It is.
Yeah, that's what I was going. Yeah, I know that face.
And 516 is actually May 16th.
Oh.
And is that a date that's pertinent to IU?
Her birthday.
Oh, of course. Hey, that's it. That's the ATM pin.
Oh, the birthday.
Oh, yeah.
0516. No, sorry.
The kid's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's the kid's birthday. Think about it.
It's a grandkid's birthday, I guess.
Yeah, as in his own daughter's birthday.
Yeah, totally, yeah. But it's a mum's credit card, right? Yeah, it's a mum's card.
Oh yeah, I can't remember what account it was.
Because he stole the card from the box in a cupboard.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he doesn't have any money.
So he stole it.
It's really desperate, this movie.
Lots and lots.
Yeah, and I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
You go.
Yeah.
I was about to say. Oh yeah, you go, Bill.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I got something playing in the background. Do you show me?
I think. Oh, hang on, Dad's in the kitchen. I've actually put my headphones in, so I didn't think that you could hear. But
each chapter of Squid Game has a lot of really good Easter eggs.
Oh, by the way, when someone, I think Jeff mentioned desperation, I think it painted the world of desperation really well.
Exactly.
Because you just follow this one character. Starts off quite in a banal way, him eating dinner with his mum. But as the dialogue progresses, you realised, oh, he's living with his mum, but he's got a daughter. Okay, and as things keep happening, divorce, gambling debts, loan sharks, a huge debt. And so you really do feel those elements of desperation pile up. Oh yeah, they didn't say anything. No, they're moving to the US next year. And yeah, so just I guess life dealing him a whole lot of crap cards, and he's not playing them well.
Yep. And the salesman guy, a lot of people recognize him from Train to Busan.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that too.
Yeah.
I have yet to see that. Quite a few of those Korean actors, they have that typical how do I say this? I'm not going to. I'll just say how I feel. That effeminate boy band.
Oh, feminine. Okay.
Warming look where they've done lots of work, and I go, oh, here's another one.
You only see that guy once again in Squid Games.
Okay. Mm.
Well,
And
in total, I've only still up to episode 4.
I'm not saying when.
I like the fact that they've got some pretty boy-looking actors. But it's nice to know they've got some sort of diversity.
Yeah.
However, the chicks all look the same. They're like cookie cutter,
Yeah.
fake-ish,
That's
again, K-pop type. And I'm going, you gave men diversity. It's either an old woman or that chick. There's nothing in between.
Mm. Yeah, I that's one thing that struck me. Out of all the 456, there's no like typical Korean music star.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless if you're the bad guy, like the guy with the tattoo on the neck who wanted to bash that chick.
That chick, yeah. Besides those two.
I don't remember his number.
Yeah, 67.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know I don't remember his number.
Yeah, I can't remember.
101.
So there was even the old man who says,
oh yeah,
it was number 1.
yeah, so number 1, at least he was also different. And I'm sort of going, I'm pretty sure there are, housewives or grandmothers who've been gambling and being in debt, or something unfortunate happens to them, like their husband swindled a whole lot of money unwillingly. He either dies or divorces or something, and then this poor woman's left with all this debt. Like, there's so many ways that I'm sort of going, there's diversity for men. Where's the diversity for these women? None.
Yes,
they're all pretty girls, fake pretty girls.
And you're right. And then there also there seems to be more guys than girls, right? Did you notice that? More male.
I'm not too surprised, because I think statistically speaking, men are higher risk takers.
That's true.
In similar way, if you look at fraud statistics, white collar crime, again, mainly perpetuated by men who do have that higher risk appetite than women generally have. But that's just that's just a But what I meant was, if I can see an old man in there in the games room, I expected to see different aged women in the games room too.
Yep.
Sadly, no.
The old man actually did make it to the pop version there.
No!
Make it to the what?
Number 001.
You made it to
001.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He's the first guy. Right?
Is there those pink guards?
Oh yeah,
and they've got different shapes. Is there a difference between what shape they've got on their head, or not really? Because some's got triangles, some have circles, and some have squares.
Oh, you noticed that?
That's
the card as well.
I noticed.
It looks like the PlayStation icons.
Minus the X.
Oh, yeah.
Poor X got left off.
Oh, good observation.
There's just typical thing for the difference.
Here it is.
I think
there's
a high roll.
Minus the X, of course.
Yeah, minus the X. I think there have been memes about the fact that they use the 3 shapes out of the Xbox, but leaving out X. And I think they're
PlayStation.
PlayStation, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm no gamer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the PlayStation icons.
PlayStation, sorry. PlayStation.
A little disappointed though when they're being picked up, I was expecting them to be picked up in a red van, not a white van. I was really disappointed with the choreographers for going with a white van and not a red van, because almost like the red workers. That really kind of threw me off a bit.
Oh, the van.
Why red? I had no expectations.
Oh, the van, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
When
can-
very
when you said
different
red
from
workers,
that.
I'm thinking communism.
okay. No,
Well, they are red soldiers.
the soldiers. You know, the circles, the squares, and the triangles. And
There's a
The
hierarchy.
guards.
Hierarchy, yeah. I think there's a hierarchy.
squares and the
Is
triangles,
it?
It looks like.
they all have
Yeah.
different ranks.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're all different ranking.
Can't-
Yeah, we watch it through, the series.
Maybe a few more series will reveal the hierarchy. But it seems like there's a hierarchy.
So it does seem like these particular ones were popular enough to have their own pop. So number 67, number 199,
Oh yeah.
456, of course,
67. That is her number. Yes, of course.
218,
Oh,
and
199. I'm
001.
intrigued by
Oh,
199.
there's a
I
Pakistani
love that.
Indian guy. Yeah,
I
he
don't know. He could be
he actually is.
Pakistani.
could be Pakistani. He's
Well,
an
his
He could
name
be
Indian.
is
He's
Ali
a
Abdul,
subcontinental
so-
guy. He could be Sri Lankan or Pakistani or Indian.
Or Bangladesh.
Well, his
Oh,
name is
Bangladeshi,
Ali
yeah.
Abdul, so
He is from Bangladesh.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, in in the series, he actually says that he's from Bangladesh.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Ah.
I wasn't sure. Yeah.
but
He-
late
I'm
Korean.
assuming he must know Korean to be able to
Yeah.
do
He can speak
accurate
Korean.
Korean production.
Well, he does have like a name which is not Korean.
Yeah, so somebody asked him where he's from, and he says Bangladesh.
Oh, I see.
Mm.
And his name isn't Korean either, so you could get it from that.
He saved 456, right? He saved, right? That was
Yeah, he
quite
says
funny.
456.
That was quite funny, actually. He didn't have to save it, right? So there is some goodness in this in some of these people, right? Despite
Exactly. 199. Oh, and also who is that guy
which one?
who when he goes to that fish place and he
Oh.
goes, oh, has blah blah been here? And he felt a bit bitter because he goes, I used to take him to school, Seoul University, but then it turns out he bumps into him inside the game and he's like,
In the game.
what are you doing here, Mr. Seoul University? But he was the first one to show him some sort of a
They were good.
kindness by saying, hey, here's a hint. If you stand behind someone, because he's figured out that the doll detects motion. So if you stand behind someone,
It blocks the view, yeah. It blocks the view.
exactly. So he was the first one to show some kindness.
Yeah.
But then he couldn't extend the same to the guy who was dying. And it was a tough call. The guy who grabbed his leg.
Yeah,
But I'm like, you preventing him going
exactly.
could mean that you both die. So I could feel the conflict within me because I'm like, you got to run and save your skin because the likelihood of you saving him is next to none. Like you
But
could
as well, he
carry,
was practically already dead. He was already
like
He's
you
injured,
could carry him, but I don't know how long you could carry him.
There's a timer. There's a timer too. Yeah.
Exactly. There's a timer. Like if you carry him, will he move? Like will he stay still when she says green, red light?
Oh yeah.
And
the trust issue. Yeah.
Exactly. And how much of a burden, if you're trying to get there quickly, is he going to be to you? But then, it's like you have to leave your humanity to save your own skin. Survival of the fittest. And you don't deliberately seek out to be cold-hearted, but unfortunately, you need to look after yourself because if you don't, you're both going to die. Much rather one person get through.
Exactly.
Which reminds me of, I can't remember which mountaineering expeditions. There's been a few where they go climb some summit together because you don't tend to go alone. Something happens to one of them and that guy goes, leave me, you got to keep going because I'm going to be a burden to you. So so even some people are aware of, you got to go. You can't sit here for me. That happened to one of the Antarctic expeditions. Can't remember which guy. There were 4 of them. Someone came down with some sort of poisoning or sickness, and I think in retrospect they found it because they were eating the dog's livers or dog meat. I think it was the dog's livers you're not supposed to eat, but they ate it because, you know, there's nothing else to eat, and they didn't know that they shouldn't. And he ate a lot of it, so he became sick. But anyway, yeah.
Yep. Since you were
Scott.
mentioning France,
That
it
was
does seem like there is a pop-up Squid Game in France.
Oh, single weekend. Oh, not 6 days. Visitors, they would play 6 games.
6 games. 6 games.
Back to
Shamin. That was Scott's expedition.
Scots. That's it.
But that is kind of cool.
Interesting. This is cool.
Yeah. So it was big enough for even France to have.
Oh my goodness.
He made it to the South Pole, and he was very nearly back at home base, and got caught up in a really bad blizzard.
Oh wow!
Thousands of visitors thousands with some fans queued for up to 7 hours.
Wow!
Oh my goodness!
To get inside to play the Korean children games.
That is crazy.
It's so big that it's completely international everywhere.
The clip shows him and his friends receiving invitation cards bearing geometric shapes and being led from one game to another by an attendant donning a magenta jumpsuit and black face mask featuring emblazoned. What? Clearly, someone needs to edit this. Featuring emblazoned with the white square. Get rid of the word featuring. Yeah, get rid of the word featuring. That's fine.
Well, this is from Forbes. I'm not sure what they did a misspell.
While playing. Oh,
We broke it. Wow.
Oh, is that the thing? I think you showed me. It's something in a tin, and there's a needle on the side, and people are drawing shit.
That's the next game.
Squid Game cookie.
That's the next game.
Yeah,
which is actually a real cookie, but now everyone calls it the Squid Game cookie.
Yeah, that's the episode 2, the next game.
Oh, okay.
Without revealing too much, yeah. But there's 6 games total in this one.
What was it? It's actually called
what was it called?
Dalgona.
Oh, was it?
I think that's how it's pronounced, Dalgona.
Yeah, it's got it in that article you were showing us, but you stopped sharing your screen, and it was on there.
I just share it. This other one, which I found.
Oh yeah.
Squid Game cookie recipe. Dalgona.
Dalgona.
So apparently the amount of people buying these cookies just completely shot up in Korea.
Are they local Korean food? Is it? Dalgona?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Dalgona honeycomb cookies.
Oh.
Or Dalgona cookie, but now everyone's calling it the Squid Game.
Separate the shape from the cookie.
Oh yes, that's the challenge. From
cookies are honeycomb cooking.
Oh yeah.
Known by its other name, Dalgona.
Yes, that's game 2. Yes.
And I think it was either Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon who tried to make one as well. I get the Jimmys mixed up.
Oh, sorry. So, Jimmy Fallon and Kimmel.
I think it's either Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon who tried to make a Squid Game cookie.
Oh, I'm going to guess Fallon because he's the try-hard, annoying guy who thinks he's funny, whereas Kimmel's actually intelligent.
Probably. Yeah, get them mixed up. But yeah, it does seem like it's a quick make if you do want to make it.
Yeah, and it's if you read that last line, it says it's only 2 ingredients. So I'm thinking, pretty good. Some street fair.
Difficulty easy.
Does it have the recipe on there, John?
You're gonna make it.
Yeah, there is.
There we go. What do you have? Sugar, baking soda. Really?
Really? Just that? Just that?
It's a simple
Wow.
gradient.
Nearly 10 minutes.
But how does it coagulate? Oh, because it must. Of course, if it's honeycomb, it must be something like caramel with bubbles in it somehow. Add sugar to a small non-stick pan. Heat over medium heat until sugar dissolves and becomes liquid. Anyway, turn the heat off. Add baking soda and stir immediately. The mixture will change its color. Yeah. Pour the mixture on a parchment paper. Gently press the mixture with a flat bottom.
That's how you make it.
Yeah, that's how you make it.
Baking soda reacts with sugar.
Yeah, so it's the baking soda that creates the bubble, which is probably why they call it the honeycomb cookie. Because I'm thinking honeycomb cooking, I'm expecting to see holes of some form. So that's what the function of the baking soda is.
Oh.
And as well, the cookie is actually quite easy to crack.
Yes, it's crispy. Yeah, it's crack. Easy.
Interesting. Quite intriguing.
But this one says use a cookie cutter. You're not actually just doing it with just the needle.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting. And if you look online now, there are lots of sellers selling like the Squid Game cookie cutouts. Those have completely shot up as well.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, it's completely gone international. It's crazy how big this thing has gotten. Everyone's talking about Squid Game. Even Taika Waititi.
So
he says that he watched it in English.
I find it interesting how. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go, Bill.
If they hadn't, if they just only released it in Korean and no other language, we probably wouldn't even know about it.
I wouldn't say that because
it does seem like it went up even without it being advertised in a lot of places.
Exactly, because K-pop stars they don't deliberately market outside, but there are people from UK, USA, from all over the world, Jono included, who are massive K-pop fans or watch K-dramas. It used to be the same with Japanese culture. Yeah.
And considering aespa's Savage, the newest album from aespa called Savage, went #1 on the Billboard charts.
Which the US Billboard charts?
Yes, the US.
Yeah, and I remember when BTS came to Sydney, and it was such a massive thing. I'm like, I didn't know who they were. I was at the Bank Arena for some other gig, and because they on the rolling video screens, they'll just pop up of what other concerts are coming up next, and I see BTS, and I'm sort of going, "Are you kidding? This is Sydney's biggest venue." They managed to book, to think, yeah, we're going to book this place, and then I heard that they sold out all their concerts. I'm like, okay, they must be pretty big then. So that's the first I came across BTS, and then everyone now talks about them. I'm like, oh, I still know who they are, just K-pop boy band.
And I even know some like Indians who like BTS.
Oh, that's cool. I was watching they're doing reruns of the old Mastermind, the one where Jennifer Byrne hosts. And I remember, and this rerun, I remember watching her the first time. She had this plush toy and it helps her with her anxiety, but her expert subject was K-pop. And she's, Caucasian. And I'm like, wow, okay. And then I was watching a doco on K-pop stars, and they were interviewing these Americans, like African, and there's a small group of them. They're all friends, and they were like K-pop, African American. I don't know if she was Hispanic, but white American. So Korean stuff is just big.
Yeah. And one of the biggest ones that I do know is Holly Morenstein, who is a YouTuber of Epic Mealtime. He's a Caucasian, but he completely loves K-pop.
Mm.
Absolutely crazy how everyone loves him. Like, he's probably like, everyone knows that he's a completely crazy K-pop fan. And everyone knows that he's a humongous fan of BTS, but when they wanted to Twitter bomb him with like K-pop, they did not use BTS. He was so annoyed.
Oh.
Yeah. Twitter bomb is when everyone just randomly sends like a topic to a certain Twitter user without any context.
Mm.
So it's usually just a picture and no idea why they do it, but they completely Twitter bomb K-pop to Harley Morenstein without any BTS. He would have liked BTS, but he didn't get it.
Mm.
Absolutely hilarious. But his YouTube channel is a cooking show. It's Epic Mealtime.
Right.
And it's also a comedy.
Yeah. Ooh.
So yeah, a lot of people love K-pop and K-drama. It's like absolutely everywhere. So even if it wasn't advertised as much, yeah, it would have gone out. That was like really big. Like even Train to Busan. It was quite small until it went international. And the international is where it completely picked up. And then it picked back up in Korea. And do you watch Train to Busan, right?
Train to Busan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that movie wasn't really advertised overseas, but once it came overseas, it just went completely crazy international. Best zombie movie ever.
What do you guys rate this one? First episode of Squid Game.
Oh, yeah, good.
What would you give it?
Yeah. For my rating, I'd give the Korean version a 7.
Oh, okay. That's pretty high, actually, John. Yeah.
I'd
What about
give
English
the
version?
English version a 5 because the voices were super cringy to me.
Fair enough. Cool. All right. What about you guys, Charmin, William? What do you guys rate this first episode of Squid Game?
Ooh.
I'd probably be rating the Korean version about a 1 or a 2 because I wouldn't understand anything. But,
Yeah, you just read you read the English subtitles.
Yeah.
What about the English version, William? Bill, what would you rate it?
Well, I've watched the whole series twice now. I really like it.
Okay.
The first episode has a lot of intricate stuff, which you'll see untangle as episodes go on.
Yes.
So I'll give the first episode 7.5.
Oh, wow. Okay, that is high. Okay, cool. Charmin, what about you for this one? First time ever, first episode.
Oh, that's interesting. It's not bad, and I guess I can see the hype, especially if you're used to Western-based TV shows.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's got a couple of downfalls that I mentioned straight off the bat.
Yeah.
So very cliched soundtrack. Your typical Asian over-the-top acting, a lack of your peripheral male characters are diverse. Why the heck aren't the female ones? but the concept of a storyline and the premise and presenting desperation so quite well deserves merit, definitely. And that just macabre nature of you could feel the tension build up from the beginning when he's being chased by loan sharks and he goes, I'll have the money out to you next month. And in your head, you're like, really? How are you going to get? Yeah, the problem is also when they go, you owe 250 million. I can't remember what the figure was. I'm sort of going, back in the day when I had to do translational currency journals, I would have a clear understanding of what the exchange rate is. I haven't done that job in such a long time, like 15 years or however long. Anyway, I was going, I can't remember how much a won is. So I'm thinking, it's a bit, I can't quantify how large the debt is. So that was a bit annoying.
It's quite low. Like about $1 million would be about approximately $1,000 ish.
How much did he owe in total? Remember how he owes when the guy on the subway revealed the fact that he actually knows him. He goes, you are, hey, so, and he says his name, and then he goes, how do you know my name? He goes, oh yeah, you graduated from this high school, and then this happened to you, blah, blah, blah. You owe loan sharks, I can't remember how much, and you also owe the bank, can't remember how much. And I was going, yeah, that's nice to know. I don't know how much that is anymore.
It sounds like a lot though, right? Millions and billions.
But the $1 exchange rate is it's worse than how you
really
got
low.
You know how Hong Kong dollar to Aussie dollar. I remember being a kid and go, really? Is that how many Hong Kong dollars is roughly an Australian dollar? But it's even worse with one.
Yeah. Definitely.
I just can't remember how much it was.
If $1 million is like $1,000. Yeah.
So, but I couldn't remember how much. Anyway, so I love the darkness and that it presents. So it's sort of leaning towards the gritty side. But then when you've got that overacting, you've just killed the grittiness. So you got me. Let's stop overacting. It certainly wasn't bad. I might give it a 6 or a 7. 6. I'll say 6.
6. All right.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Jeff.
It's a good point. I have seen the other ones, so I have to just backtrack a bit.
You completely binged it in like
it got me hooked. I think I tend to agree with Charmin because it's kind of in some ways you know what it was similar to Hunger Games and a few other TV shows, right, or movies, right? So you kind of know what might happen and all that, but because why this one is I still keep it quite high is because like the way they present it, the way they put it all together. The music might be some we're familiar with, but they did the like for example the Frank Sinatra song towards the end of that first game, and then they kind of
was that in the Korean?
That was in the Korean.
It was in the Korean as well.
Yeah, it was played in English in the Korean version too. I checked there.
I could tell it was in the Korean because when you listen to the syllable, which line? Not the main fly me to the moon line, but there was another line with the consonant L or R, and Koreans have the same get up as Chinese and Japanese. L's and R's are really muddied, and as the person kept singing, I went, yeah, I bet you it's a Korean girl singing this because a couple of your LR consonants suffers from that same problem.
When you think about it, then if it was from a Korean artist who sang it.
Well done, Charmin. You're right.
There are a lot of classic songs which Korean singers have actually redone.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Anyone can redo anything. So,
Yeah, if it's played in Korean, is that song sung in Korean?
No,
No, it's
No,
just
it's only
done
in
in
English.
English.
it's the same. It's the same in the Korean version.
artist,
The artist
yeah,
is Korean.
it was sung in English, but I could tell from
Oh, that is so well
the
done.
accent
I
that
actually
the
didn't pick.
singer was
I
Korean.
didn't actually pick that up until I only
Oh.
looked it up today. Actually,
Oh,
I can
okay.
show you.
I didn't have to look it up. I just had to listen to it. Yeah, Korean chick
yeah.
singing.
A lot
I'll
of
show you.
classic songs are being redone with Koreans.
So this is the actual Korean artist, that singer. Sorry.
Let's not assault my ears again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I was disappointed that it was a Korean. Actually, I'd rather an English person sing it. But,
Yeah, I was saying, if you're having an English, I don't mind a Korean doing it, but have someone who can speak English.
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, it's a Frank Sinatra song. Actually, it wasn't written by Frank Sinatra. Though. It was written by.
No, but he was the. Everyone tends to know the main performer.
Yeah.
In a similar way, remember how I really fell in love with when we were watching the
but that's
Suicide
the
Squad?
thing. A lot of original classics are being redone with Korean artists. Like, you know, the I Want You Back song, Jackson 5?
Oh, yeah.
Was also in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yep, the Korean band Twice redid it. And they sung it in English still.
Yeah.
Because they're not original enough to write their own songs.
Nope, they're original. They still love the classics. The Koreans seem to like the classics. It really seems they like the classics.
Yeah. So I'll give this one 7. I'll give it a 7, but it builds up on you. That's my because you learn more about the characters.
Yes.
You learn more characters.
Yep.
They all seem bad now, but there is some goodness later, to a degree only.
I don't think they seem bad. I just think that they're unfortunate. However, number 67. Right? I don't like number 67. And you can tell from how the story's told, we are supposed to be barracking for 4, 5, 6. So I have a funny feeling
67.
That's like the Katniss of the Hunger Games, let's just say.
Who was 67 again?
That girl.
4, 5, 6. Oh, 067, that girl who stole his name.
Oh, you think that girl will win, or what do you think?
No.
Everyone's
I suspect
4, 5,
6 is going to win because
okay.
we are set up from the get-go to follow him and his backstory. So we're now emotionally invested in this character because they got us.
So let's see the scores which other people gave.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. What the other what did they rank the first?
Okay, Rotten Tomatoes.
They only rank
8.2.
Is that for the whole season?
Okay.
92%. IMDb
is that for the
8.
whole season?
Oh,
season,
okay.
Or episode 1?
I think it's a bit tough, but I just am.
No, I think that's for the whole episode. I think for the whole season.
For the entire series.
Yeah, you can't judge. You can't use one to judge.
Right.
Yeah.
That might be different.
So that's actually quite large.
Very high, very high. Yeah, I agree with that because you have to watch more episodes to see the characters, and it's important to understand all of them. They're all very unique in the.
And
like
any guesses of what
to...
IGN gives it? Because we've been doing IGN scores.
7.5.
Have a look. Yeah.
Oh, that's my guess. But yeah, I totally agree with you. It's good, but it's a bit meh. Like it hasn't blown my socks off yet.
Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah.
9. Wow. Okay.
You got a 9.
Yeah, you got to watch to at least most of it, if not the end.
Yes, that's what Hugh said. Hugh said, his sister told him to keep watching it, and he goes, I finished 5, and he goes, I don't really want to go on anymore. But he said that his sister said, no, it gets a lot better from 6 onwards. So yeah, like I said, it's not terrible, but hasn't quite knocked me out of the park. But there are definitely good points about it.
And as I said, Twice redid I Want You Back by Jackson 5.
Hang on, how many people are in this group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
24.
I find it ridiculous that a group
Yeah.
can have that many people.
It has way too many
Yeah,
people.
there's that many. In a girl band, yeah.
Yeah, it's 9 people in the band.
Lord.
Like ridiculously too much. And the name is twice.
And what really annoys me, I must admit, I put a caveat out on this opinion. It may or may not, from what little I've seen of Japanese, like J-pop and K-pop, but definitely more so in the Western girl bands and boy bands, lots of people, next to no harmony. Then in my mind is, what the hell are you all doing there? If you've got more than one voice, please give me some harmony. And you've got more voices, give me better harmonies. Do I get that? No.
If you like comedies, Red Velvet.
Oh. No, I'll just either listen to good classic rock, like the Eagles, or even soft rock like the Bee Gees, or if the mood calls for it, some choral music. I do not need to listen to that crap. I mean, J-pop, K-pop stuff.
What about jazz? What about Frank Sinatra and
The Koreans actually do like those types of songs.
I do listen to a lot of jazz. Actually, the CD I'm just listening to today is my jazz CD of my friend. It's not their newest CD. But you don't harmonize your singing in jazz. There's generally just one singer.
Yeah.
There are jazz is a different beast.
Yeah,
To say.
different thing. Instruments, instruments. Yeah.
But yes, jazz is great. And there's so much different types of jazz, like bebop and swing and bossa nova and acid and anyway, like and big band stuff.
Interesting. Cool. All right, that was interesting.
Thank you for the suggestion. I think the thanks go to Jeff, I think, for suggesting to watch Squid Game episode 1, because it, like I said, not bad, and I'm glad I watched the first episode. And I'm more than happy to watch the other ones upon everyone else's urging. And
and watch it in Korean as well.
Yeah, we can watch the Korean version next week.
I like the fact that it actually sets you up in a good way, whereby it's not one of those stupid Bold and the Beautiful Neighbors cliffhanger episodes where it forces you to watch the next episode to see if the story arc finishes. There's a self-contained element to where we've left off because the first game's ended and we've got all these people who have died and you've set up some character dynamics, but I love the intrigue of who's this Bangladeshi guy 199, what is the backstory between number 67 and that long-haired dude with a tat on his neck. So it closes and releases the tension, and it I guess it fulfills a bit of the tension while it sort of gives you little breadcrumbs of, hey, there's something more here, and you can hopefully discover more in the upcoming episode. So the way they've structured that in terms of a story episodic show and a storyline, that's good.
That's a good point, actually. They split it up in a way that keeps you entertained, wanting more. But giving you enough information to be satisfied, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So maybe I'll finish the series eventually, but I'm still up to I finished episode 4.
Oh, we haven't finished it. Actually, one thing surprising is I realized,
I half expected you to have finished, John.
That's the thing. I
was quite busy this week, so I was like super
busy
with a lot of
this
stuff.
has been out for a while, right? This has been.
I think that's why we. Oh, I was about to say, I think that's why whenever people ask me about Netflix shows, whether it's Stranger Things, Queen's Gambit, or even this one,
Queen's Gambit,
I tell people I don't have, I tell people I have enough on free-to-air TV, ABC, iView, and SDS On Demand that I've never had to really dip my toes and find non-free-to-air shows. So I'm fortunate, but in one sense, fads like these, Squid Game, previous one being the Queen's Gambit, previous one being Tiger King, other things like Game of Thrones. Just trying to think of Stranger Things, and any other of those shows where it's not on free to air and everyone talks about. I unfortunately don't know anything but whatever people talk about and is discussed on radio programs. Oh yes, so I've listened to so many different radio programs discuss Squid Games. Show other people referencing Squid Games, that you learn to pick up things in a similar way. I was late to the whole Star Wars franchise, but it was so ingrained in popular culture and references and allusions that I knew straight away that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father without watching anything, because people could, and there are just other things you sort of pick up without watching, which is a good thing because you still learn without watching, but in a sense you clearly are way behind the eight ball because you haven't watched any of it. Which is why another reason why I'm thankful for watching at least the first episode. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was a bit like, because I actually, like, I guess we kind of put off watching this it's been out for about a month, all right? One month and a half.
Oh, really? Yeah, it probably has.
It came out on September the 17th.
Mid-September. Oh, 5 weeks, yeah. So I was thinking, because none of us actually watched all of it yet, besides I just watched it recently, right? So
you binged it all in one go.
Watched it twice.
Who? Oh, Bill.
Didn't Bill say he watched it twice?
Bill.
I binged it and watched it 2 times in 1 week.
Whoa, okay.
I still haven't had time to completely watch it yet.
Yeah, I don't either.
But it did do well in the box office too, we should add. It's one of the highest Netflix things, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a record.
It's a record, yeah. So
for Netflix.
So that's what got me into like curiosity, as in how come we did so well, like in the box office, so to speak. Yeah.
Not really box office, the Netflix income.
The Netflix revenue, okay, yeah. Because they had other shows in the past by Netflix, but
how does Netflix get income from one specific show? Doesn't Netflix get its income just from people subscribing to the streaming service?
Yes, but it does seem like I'll just share this thing. It does actually feel it.
Oh, maybe they have some internal statistics.
Squid Game fuels Netflix's profit and subscriber growth.
Oh,
new subscriber growth.
Yeah, new subscribers.
So maybe it's new subscribers coming on just for Squid Game.
Yeah. So that's what's.
And the streamer's revenue rose 16% in the third quarter. Just for this one thing.
I think it's 140 million households or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So this is mentioning the whole of Netflix, not just.
Yeah.
But it does seem like this one show just completely.
It bumped up there.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
But it also depends on how they watch it and how many times they watch it, because that's how they get the profit.
If you watch it again.
What do you mean how they watch it? Don't you switch it on and watch it with your eyes? What are people rubbing their butts against it? Sorry, just
like,
a phrase.
Are they watching it?
Depends how they watch it. I'm like, with your eyes.
Are they watching it multiple times? Are many people watching it, or is it just like certain households watching it?
Gotcha.
That's how they kind of tell. Like web IPs tend to be different per household, so you could tell like how popular it is.
So it's the metrics behind viewership of that show. Here's, I think this is why I do the job I do. I'm like, what do you mean by this? That makes no sense. Can you clarify? Oh, you mean this. Let me write that down.
So it doesn't really state how much the show made.
Mm.
But
so it can't link the show, but it's definitely a huge factor in its subscriber growth and people profit.
Yeah. But it does seem like that is how much it cost.
Oh, the budget for it.
My screen's gone blurry.
21.4.
Can't read.
21.4
Oh, there we go.
million.
21.
To
Okay.
make it. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of yeah. Yeah, okay.
Did they fund the production or did they just buy it?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
They funded the production. It's a
Oh,
Netflix
right.
exclusive, effectively.
Oh, wow.
Ah, very interesting.
Yeah, but it
So they
doesn't
help
seem
make
to
the
show
movie.
how much it made. Maybe a different article does.
Okay.
They help make
Sorry.
the movie.
So it cost them 21.4 million to produce. What was the profit or growth in that quarter? Did they have any numbers against it apart from that 16%?
16%, but that's all I got. But I'm trying to find it if they actually made profit from it.
Netflix worldwide is just enormous.
Yeah, the popularity worldwide. It's not only America.
But I'm not sure why Netflix doesn't allow certain things in certain countries.
So it does seem like Squid Game was seen by more than 82 million subscribers worldwide.
Oh my goodness, that is ridiculous.
And has been viewed more than 22.8 billion times since its release.
So clearly there are multiple viewings per subscriber then.
Yeah.
Oh, to answer your question, Bill, I thought the same, but when you asked that question, a thought immediately flashed into my mind. I wonder if there are certain regulations in terms of media decency and censorship which requires a demarcation of different regions, plus different regions, their other free-to-air channels may already have rights to some shows in which Netflix therefore can't buy them, but they may be able to buy rights for other shows. So therefore, again, another reason for regional difference.
I'll give it.
Yeah, but just off the top of my head, don't know my speculations.
So
Educated guess.
I'll give you a perfect example.
Got a number.
$900 million. Wow. And they spent 21.4 million. That return is pretty good in my books.
And that's still an estimate. It's not actually how much they made.
Wow.
It's amazing. And that's why when you look at some movies, quite a few actors set up their own production companies or set up production companies with friends or end up producing things, because if they bank projects that are really successful, your return is so much higher than if you were actually a cast member, even if you were the top cast member.
So I mean, you were talking about the ratings and stuff. I can give it, of different things, different things being allowed in different countries. I give an example of one which.
Oh, I was just trying to answer your question. When you said, why do they have regional differences? And I just threw in my 2 cents worth of immediate thoughts that I could think of.
For example, in UK, you could only see what was it? Not Lord of the Rings. The other one.
The Hobbit.
What was his name? Harry Potter. You could only see Harry Potter if you're using in the UK or a VPN to access the UK. You couldn't get in anywhere else other than the UK.
Yep, I'm aware of what regional differences are, and my answer hopefully answered that question, because again, it's up to rights holders competing distributor whether they've got rights themselves. So again, like I said, it could be a censorship thing, a media regulatory and other types of censorship. It could be competitors, competing distributors already having rights to certain things, even though Netflix have rights in other jurisdictions, or it could be rights givers themselves saying, sure, Netflix, feel free to show this, but you are only allowed to show this in this jurisdiction. So I'm not surprised that there are regional differences, but there will be.
And it does seem like the Red Notice movie, they partnered with Maximum Effort with Netflix to make the movie.
Sorry, could you repeat that? I was trying to simmer down from half feeling like I was being mansplained to by Bill.
So a lot of Netflix movies now are being partnered with other studios.
Yes, especially if, it's like when you watch films.
So the most recent one, which is coming soon, which is Red Notice, they partnered with Maximum Effort. Which is the name of a studio company as well.
So you've got co-production and creation, which isn't all that unfamiliar, because if you watch certain films, creators sometimes need more than one financer, backup, production company, whatever else. And I'm sure that could be the case for these shows as well.
Yep, and especially for Maximum Effort, it's because of Ryan Reynolds.
Does he have any interest in that company, organization?
He practically owns it.
Oh, okay. There you go. See, like I said, actors going into production. So, again, very, very familiar.
Oh, there we go.
Maximum Effort makes movies in
For the personal amusement of Hollywood.
The tone of that is so Ryan Reynolds. That's just hilarious.
We occasionally release them to the
general public.
Maximum Effort. But the projects that they have is like Deadpool, obviously, Celine Dion,
David Beckham,
Aviation Gin, Group Effort Initiative, Free Guy, of course,
Free Guy,
Mobile, Detective Pikachu.
Yes, I actually liked that film much more than I expected. Caveat. Happy birthday, Hugh. Oh, man.
All from Maximum Effort Productions.
Oh, this is great. I love their logo because it looks very minimal effort.
Yeah. That's so Ryan Reynolds.
It is. That humor.
Yeah, because it's just a simple E, but just dropped.
That's right. It's not like they're going, I'll get a font writer to make a beautiful, like a graphic design. It's like, just give me a piece of paper. There you go. That's our logo.
Somehow I think that's how they made it.
And why am I not surprised?
I wouldn't be surprised if it actually was.
Funny. Oh, gee.
Good old Maximum Effort. But since it's the project's company based just around Ryan Reynolds, that's just hilarious. And now The Rock is involved because Red Notice has The Rock, Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds in the movie.
So is Red Notice going to be a multi-episode sort of show?
No, it's going to be a movie.
Oh, it's a movie. Okay, Netflix movie. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we'll be watching that Netflix movie when it comes out.
When does it come out?
November 12th.
Okay.
So not too long. It's like 3 weeks.
Interesting.
So we watch that when it comes out. Then we'll see Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Gal Gadot battling it out. Deadpool versus Wonder Woman, practically.
Cool.
So I guess that's our next movie watch after we watch the other movies, which we haven't watched, including all the Marvel shows.
What's the plan for next